bit extravagant. They tell me it cost something like £30,000 a day for the electricity in the place. So it couldn't be maintained as a private palace anymore. No one would have the kind of money necessary to even heat it, let alone operate it. The grounds are now always open as a public park, and the private gardens are, of course, now open as a botanical. So still serves the purpose, but the extravagance of the age when these things were built, that nobody could possibly have needed so big a palace. And small wonder the Commons rose up and demanded a parliament and a little bit of equality.
We already came.
I look down toward the Cotswolds off in the distance, and the house where we'll have tea and rest a little before the evening vigil service. We're on Chaucer Lane here, and it's called Chaucer Lane because actually Chaucer's home was here. Chaucer actually lived in the house on the corner up ahead of us a little ways, and of course everyone knows him from the Canterbury Tales, one of the earliest pieces of English literature in such old English that practically no one can read it anymore. And again, we're in Woodstock, and this is near Blenheim Palace, where Sir Winston Churchill was born. And it's a very ancient village, well, ancient by North American standards, very old, not ancient by European standards, but from the 1300s, and or earlier yet, 1200s, that many of the buildings were first built. And I think Chaucer's house would be one of the oldest, but there are one or two buildings here from medieval times, from even earlier than the 1200s. And so this is Chaucer's house, where Chaucer was born and grew up in this village, and it's some great interest. So we'll just do a little bit of a walkabout here in the village. Earlier on, in one of the recordings, we heard the church bells ringing from the cathedral because there'd been a wedding here, and you see the bell tower peeking, I think, over the buildings here from it. Some of the buildings, of course, much later, but these old stone buildings that we see are all from medieval times, 11, 1200s, 1300s, and some built on foundations that were quite a bit older than that. So we're on the edge of the Cotswolds, and if we had time we could drive through, because the Cotswold region has some of the most lovely villages in Britain, and the most self-traditional or ancient style in it. But here, we'll share what we can. That's the city governance house. They don't call it a city hall, something else. But anyway, from our point of view, it's a city hall. And here's the Cathedral of St. Mary Magdalene, and likely where Churchill was baptized. The Bear Pub here down the way is coach stop from 13 or 1400s. The building is built and served as an inn and, of course, a pub where people could have meals and lay over night if they needed to.
Владыка, это stocks.
Hmm?
Это stocks.
Oh, stocks? Oh, yes, okay.
Для плохих.
Yeah, for locking people in. Yes, this is the remain of the stocks. We would have seen those in New England as well, particularly around areas where they would have burned witches and put other people in the stocks, locked their legs and feet into them, and people could come and throw rocks or tomatoes or spit at them or whatever. But these are still the city stocks for locking people in, petty criminals. And again, here's the Bear Pub, which is one of the oldest of the buildings here, still used. The big gateway in the middle of it that the carriages used to drive in to the courtyard, and people would get off and have a meal or a few pints of beer or ale, likely in those days, and sometimes stay overnight in the inn. But this is what a pub originally was. It was a public house that served more purposes than just drinking beer. So, this is the post office and savings bank. Oh, I wonder if this bank, no, it wouldn't be open. As you can see, this inn has operated continuously from the 1300s. The oxen yoke that used to pull the, and a cartwheel from agricultural cart, wooden, wrapped in metal, and it's a rather important place. I just learned that this was also, Elizabeth Taylor stayed in this inn when she was in Britain because she loved Woodstock and loved this particular inn and pub. This is all part of the inn, and remember that it's been operating continuously since the 1300s. So called the Bear Hotel at the Bear Pub. Anyway, so a little shot down. And of course all the symbols all there be a little bit choppy and broken, but it'll give you an idea, and you can see what a real Old English village looks like. And things that have been running here since the 1300s makes it quite a fascinating place. The town hall here, the newest building in town, it's only 400 years old, they tell me, so consequently it's quite new. So